Hyper-Aware of a Spiritual Realm by E.N.E. Chapter 8. Artist. I'm not sure I can remember a time in my life where I wasn't drawing pictures, and I think that's true for most kids. It was a bit over the top at times, I won't lie. I used up way too much paper. Sometimes I would show a drawing I did to every family member because I was so proud of it and wanted validation. I was extremely sensitive because if I felt like someone didn't give me enough affirmation, I would get sad and potentially cry. I desperately needed to feel like this thing I loved so much was also good, and that I should be proud. It turned out it wasn't a phase of childhood, because I never stopped drawing and painting. I loved art, and I was always intensely visual. A lot of these things only continued to grow into greater loves. It's why I would get so lost in another universe, in my mind, my imagination, stories written by other people. Fictional worlds potentially felt more real to me than the real world. Even when I listened to music as a child, I would see colors in my mind. Each song had a unique world and shape to it. I was very much a video game girl, probably because I grew up with only brothers. I would get so much inspiration from the games I played, and would sometimes draw characters or scenes for hours. Often I would stop actively playing a game just to take in the scenery of the world it took place in, and I would listen to the soundtrack. I think my love for art grew into a love for world building. It makes sense because I know it was such a huge form of escapism. I also absolutely loved certain cartoons, anime, illustrations, and children's books, favorite films. It feels like something I never grew out of. Even as I got older, I was intensely nostalgic and longed for being a kid again. I felt like I didn't even understand what growing up meant. It truly felt as though what people emphasized about adulthood genuinely didn't make sense to me. I couldn't understand how so many people didn't value and long for innocence the way I did. It's all I ever wanted. Becoming an adult not only felt scary, I truly felt it was impossible. I can't begin to express my gratitude for the healing I have been able to find as I've gotten older. It's definitely not perfect, and don't get me wrong, I still struggle a lot. But I have been able to see the other side and feel what it means to be a young woman now, still embracing artistry and how it's beautiful and meaningful in more ways I could have known before. I feel as though maybe I'm getting closer to accepting what my childhood and teenage years were. In the midst of chronic hardship and pain, I would spend my time illustrating and using art as a huge coping mechanism, as well as a deep need for simply expressing myself and who I was. There's no shame in feeling things deeply, and I think it took me a long time to realize that. I still find art in so many forms therapeutic. I love painting, scrapbooking, sketching, using acrylics, watercolors, trying new techniques, using special pens. I don't do art nearly as much as I used to due to illness. When I first got sick, I almost lost my ability to write and draw. You can imagine how horrifying that was for someone who only ever knew that to be their whole life. Sometimes I can't believe that some things have gotten even a little bit better, and I'm able to be more of my creative self again, even if it looks different. It's something I don't take for granted. I try my best on the days I'm able to make something meaningful, whether it's for others at some point or purely for my own enjoyment and healing, which is just as important. Art is a wild and free thing, meant to be enjoyed, felt deeply, like the wind or like medicine. It's so easy to get caught up in the stress and turmoil of this world, our own minds, people who have wronged us. It can feel like there's no escape from it, it seems. I feel I'm prone to distress, and the world seems to be too. Sometimes it can be hard for me to remember why I even started making art or why I fell in love with it in the first place. It's so easy for me to just feel disturbed. Sometimes it's not until I step into that realm again where it suddenly comes back to me. This is how my soul is fed. My mind is able to take a break for once and focus on something I love deeply. I think there are times it brings me back to my body again, and I'm not so stuck in the dark corners of my mind anymore. I had a friend when I was growing up, about 20 years older than me, who made me fall in love with the art and expression of fashion and wearing beautiful things. I was a tomboy for most of my childhood, so it felt like this amazing magical world I was entering for the first time. I never thought I would enjoy fashionable things the way I did. She would often give me bags of clothes that she thrifted, just because, and I never felt so spoiled. It felt like Christmas whenever I saw her. I would often put together storybook-like outfits together, take pictures in the woods or in the garden or orchard. I began to see more clearly how all of the creative passions I had were connected. Over time, I started to realize how I always saw something visual when I would listen to or create music, and vice versa. I would see something beautiful or imagine a story, which always entailed a musical soundtrack. I could not see life any other way than this, and I couldn't separate any of these things from each other. Whether it was working tirelessly on an illustration, with hours of detail, or playing with chalk outside on the concrete pavement, it all had meaning and expression. I loved it all. Visual art is what also inspired me to make music videos. I remember watching music videos when I was a kid, wondering how in the world you could make something so cinematic and stunning. I feel like half of me has always been in another world my entire life. My mind has always been somewhere else, in one way or another. I know that there is also a dark side to that because I've had the tendency to imagine horrific things and suffer mental pain. But the other side of that coin is to also feel the depth of love and joy to its fullest. Sometimes I've struggled with wanting to numb out or just feel nothing because feeling everything so intensely and deeply can feel beyond exhausting. But then I have to ask, isn't that taking away what makes me human? I was designed to feel, to live, to go through the human experience. The more I lean into my creativity, the more I can see God's artistry and His own creation. The more my eyes are open to the beauty that's around me, even in the spiritual realm. I can see love and goodness more clearly, and suddenly my soul is at home again. We are art, and created to continue creation. It's a beautiful, full circle moment when I learn to embrace that being God's will for me. The creator of the universe, loving you so much that He wanted to create you, simply for the sake of you existing. His own heart breaking when we go through grief and trauma because, again, that's how much He loves us. I wish everyone knew that. He knows us better than we will ever know ourselves. As someone who has suffered memory lapses from illness attacking my own brain, I can assure you, I don't have the control or knowledge of myself the way I think I do. Flesh may forget, but not the sovereign God, is a verse I remind myself, often because sometimes I haven't been able to rely on my own brain for simple things. I don't mean for this to sound dark or scary, rather the opposite. I truly believe I am not holding my life in my own hands. If that were the case, I'd either be dead or would have never existed. I was written into existence by someone else. Everything created is art. I'm living through beauty even though it's tainted by pain. One of the hardest things for me to do is surrender, but when I do, is when I am truly alive again. We were never designed to know everything. Rather, we were designed to exist, to love, to simply be. We are artistry embodied. It's hard to look at an illuminated field of wildflowers and fail to see the intricate creativity in something so stunningly beautiful. Why is it that we fail to see the beauty and creativity and passion that went into our minds and bodies when we look in a mirror? The freedom that comes with seeing yourself as beloved and cherished is something I don't think I can ever put into words. All it does is bring me to tears, even as I write this. It's the kind of love I pray that everyone knows at least at some point in their lives. I think I'll be an artist until the day I die. I thank God for the healing that it brings. A quote by John Bellion. I thought my way to greatness, I could claim this, but he gave me the brain. He is still good.